said this over and over, the pleasure of the president. It's his administration. I'm going to run for president, and he went out there. You can run yourself, but he makes the calls, and that's it. That's how it goes, and that's how he got the results he's got. Folks, this year marks a critical moment for our country as the opposition grows more aggressive and unapologetic. The fight now reaches into everyday decisions.
Good morning, guys. He's now doing a commercial. He's doing a commercial. Whenever he's done, then we can go back and watch it. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for 1 second, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. Please like the video and subscribe. We watch this show here every morning at this time for about 30 or 50 minutes. So I hope that you like it. Please thumbs up so that we can watch and hear and learn what is going on. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Anytime you come back from
I'm sorry, guys.
like that, I said, when you're in a leadership position, you're not going to make everybody happy. You got to make.
I'm sorry, guys. He was doing commercial. That's why I muted. So now we are back. Okay, I'm sorry.
Level 10 decisions, but having you all here means the world to me. I really appreciate it, and I hope that comes off as genuinely as I mean it, because you guys are the best. This Bongino army, I always had faith, but faith results matter. Thank you very much. On yesterday, True Social post, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is moving over to SHIELD. It is a lateral. However, listen, it's pretty clear there were some issues there. A couple points on this. I saw a lot of folks on Twitter this morning asking me for my perspective, being that I was, inside the administration at that principal deputy level. First, results have to matter. I've told you this over and over for the, 10 years I've been on the air. I'm a transactional guy. I care about results and numbers. I don't care about opinions. I don't care about personalities. I don't care. I think over the course of history, this is all looked back upon with kind of non-rose-colored or dark-colored glasses, I think people are going to say that was one of the most successful years they've ever had over at DHS. There was a lot that had to happen. ICE, CBP, Secret Service, TSA. DHS is huge. Folks, DHS has, multiple times a factor of agents than we had at the FBI. But between ERO, removal operations, the border being shut down, some transformations that happened within Secret Service, within ICE, within CBP. I'll tell you a quick story to my experience with Kristi Noem. When we wanted to get rid of FBI headquarters, I don't want to bore you with a long story. Guys, this story sucks, just tell me. But the FBI headquarters political football has been going on for 40 years. Move the FBI, don't move the FBI, move the building's freaking collapsing. The Hoover building we worked in is collapsing. It's disgusting. There's literally concrete falling from the garage on people's cars. So what they have to do is wall off sections of the garage so there's no parking down there because the concrete's falling. Because for, 20, 30 years we're going to move it to Virginia, Maryland. They wanted like an $8 billion headquarters, whatever it is. Cash and I were like, we're not doing any of that shit. We're going down the road to the Reagan building. It already exists. We're going to save the taxpayers billions of dollars. It just made sense. That deal is now done. The move's already begun. We did it in like 6 months or so. We had a problem, though. Kristi Noem's DHS had an office in there, CBP office, and it was a bit of a football. And we said, guys, we need to just make this smooth, the transition. And she did it pretty quick. So I think our results over time are going to be good. Second, as I said before, you serve at the pleasure of the president, folks. It's his cabinet. If he feels like something's become a distraction to him, and clearly he didn't like how the hearing went, then he's going to move on. I don't think it means necessarily that you saw in his put up the True Social post. It's not like he's sitting there saying, oh, terrible job and all that stuff. He just wanted to move on. Mark Wayne Mullen's a good guy. I know Mark Wayne Mullen pretty well, senator from Oklahoma, and he's going to have a pretty smooth sailing through the confirmation process. I, knock on wood, don't anticipate any problems, though the Democrats will try to fabricate one. But listen, obviously something didn't go right. President wanted to move on with someone different. But I think, again, looking back over time at the results, you're going to be like, damn, those were pretty good. Shut the border down from 10 million illegals entering a year? Who knows? Maybe more when you factor in gotaways to effectively zero. So we'll see what happens over time. But I think as the body of work is looked at, I think it's going to be looked at positively. And clearly, the president just wants to go in a different direction. But, it's not like he took a shot at her out the door. So there's my take on it, having been inside. Remember, when you get it, for those of you out there, and some of you, this is a pretty big audience. You already got 45,000 people 10 minutes in here. Some of you there are going to get these assistant secretary, deputy assistant secretary jobs in the future in the government. You're going to see it's not about you. It's always about the administration. That's how it goes. All right. So, folks, freaking Baghdad Bob is back. How bad must this conflict going on in Iran right now? How bad must this be going for the Iranians that they're sending out their foreign minister, like, yeah, we're waiting for you. You're not waiting for shit. Are you kidding me? You better pray and hope that there's no ground forces in there ever. You're waiting for that. Most of your leadership team has been completely wiped out. Do you guys remember Baghdad Bobby? If you're part of my younger audience out there, and we love you, thank you for being here. You're the best. Listen, the younger folks are important. They're going to be around a lot longer than us older folks. You may not remember this guy. Do you remember the movie, Seven? That movie Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman are the detectives investigating these murders. And at the end, there's this scene where he's looking at, because there's these really gruesome murders, and Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt are sitting there. And Brad Pitt looks at Morgan Freeman and goes, "Have you ever seen anything like this?" When it comes to this theater, what's going on right now in Iran, have you ever seen anything like this?
No.
This has to be the quickest decapitation of leadership and military facilities we've ever seen. This even makes shock and awe look not so shock and not so awe. However, this has happened before, where these propaganda ministers within the government want to keep some kind of hierarchy and want to keep the people in line. So what do? They send out their agitprop people. This was Baghdad Bob. I saw this on, was it Breaking 911? It's a good follow on X. This was Baghdad Bob, their Iraqi foreign minister propaganda guy, when they were getting their asses kicked over in Iraq. Check this out.
We will slaughter them all. Those invaders, their tombs will be here in Iraq.
You're not frightened now, sir?
Not at all, not at all. And you don't be frightened. We are going to tackle them and to destroy them. They are not near Baghdad. Don't believe them. It's messes. They are liars. That's all.
What's the situation today here in Baghdad?
It's good, as you see it. As you see it, the traffic. They are trapped everywhere in the country. They are trapped in Qasr. They are trapped near Basra. They are trapped near Nasiriyah. They are trapped near Najaf.
Okay, nobody was trapped. Obviously, they were getting their asses kicked. However, Baghdad Bobby, they used to send Bobby out in front of the cameras all day. There are no troops in Baghdad. That's all he used to do was bullshit people. Folks, the Iranians are doing that now. Here's their Baghdad Bobby. Here's Bobby Aragachi. That's his name, his big name, Bobby. Bobby.
So
Here is Iranian Foreign Minister Bobby Aragachi telling, what is it, MSNOW, oh yeah, man, we're just sitting back and waiting for you guys. What's his name? Oh, NBC News. Here he is on NBC, same thing. MSNOW, NBC News. Here he is telling you, we're just sitting back and waiting. You crazy Americans are falling right into a trap. If this is a trap, this is the worst trap ever set. Check this out.
Trump has not ruled out boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Well, we were ready for this war even more than the previous war. So you can see, the quality of our missiles, how much they are upgraded after the last war, because we learned lots of lessons. And we are prepared for any other eventuality, even, a ground invasion.
Who just said that? Hold on. Who just said that in the chat?
This is so funny.
Someone said in the chat, I missed it. It's going so fast. Someone said even the MSNOW, NBC guys, like, dude, come on. Really? This is even too much for us, the PP hoaxers? Come on. The Russia hoaxers, impeachment hoaxers, the PP hoaxers, even on MSNOW, NBC. This is a little much. Bobby, cool out, bro. Cool out. He may not be around for long, by the way. So just save that footage. This may be the last we see of Bobby Aragachi. This is suicidal. This is the equivalent of Iraqi IRGC and Mullah suicide by cop. That's what this is right now. This is suicide by U.S. military. That's all you're asking for. President Trump put out a truth right before we got up on the air saying, listen, guys, the rules are unconditional surrender or nothing. And I wouldn't test them. This just went out. President Trump, Truth Social. There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender and acceptance of an acceptable leader. He's already told you. We're beyond the screwing around portion of this. This is real. People are dying. It's not a joke. I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm simply suggesting the fact that you are playing with a pair of twos with a guy who's got a full house. You don't have a chance. You can bluff all you want. Eventually, you're going to have to show your cards. You don't have any cards. Folks, this is just machismo at this point. That's all this is by the dumbass Iranian leadership. Your people don't even like you. Upwards of 80% of the Iranians hate your guts. Here is the head of Sentcom, Brad Cooper, giving just a quick briefing yesterday on what's really going on, not the Baghdad Bobby version. Bobby's full of shit. Even MSNOW is like, dude, I'm not really sure that's accurate. Sitting there waiting for us. They were waiting in Khomeini's above ground portion of the bunker too, and then they didn't quite make it. That waiting didn't work out so well. That waiting room did not end well. You never got to see the doctor. You got to see a doctor who declared you dead, the medical examiner, I guess, but there was no doctor on the other side of that door. Here's what's really going on after just under a week of action over in Iran. Check this out.
And if I just look back over the last 24 hours of the operation compared to where we were at start, ballistic missile attacks have decreased by 90% since day one. Drone attacks have decreased by 83% since day one. Having said this, we remain vigilant. Our strikes against the Iranian Navy have intensified. You may have heard the president say just a little while ago that we have sunk or destroyed 24 ships. That was true at the moment. We're now up over 30 ships. And in just the last few hours, we hit an Iranian drone carrier ship, roughly the size of a World War II aircraft carrier. And as we speak, it's on fire.
Folks, candidly, they're probably running out of high-quality targets at this point because they've taken out most of them. Here's some footage of their internal paramilitary police, one of their bases being taken out within the city. This is not going to end well for them. The president's not screwing around. A couple more points, and I want to move on. I got a lot to cover today. I know we've done a ton on what's going on in Iran this week. I've got a lot. I've got some more coming up later in the show, some VO, some interesting military video. But there's a couple other things going on, too, I want to address, including some internal polling. And Greg Gutfeld on the anti-communist theory and the show your ass theory we talk about all the time. He kind of sums it up, I think a little better sometimes than even I do on this. So I'm going to play that in a second. But two quick things I want to address, too, on the war front here. The United Arab Emirates, if they cut off the financial markets to the Iranians that have been using them and others, you can see it was an interesting article in the Journal and elsewhere. If UAE is serious and starts cutting off the financial intermediary activities for the Iranian government, folks, it's going to be over. In the end, you need energy and you need money. You can't power a war machine with no money and no energy. You just can't. What are you going to do? Viking-like boats made out of wood? I mean, you need energy, which needs money and requires assets. Second, China is sitting by and doing absolutely nothing. The CCP is probably realizing right now, hey, man, our military equipment is absolute garbage compared to the United States. They're sitting doing the bare minimum on the sidelines. This has got to be a message to them that maybe we invested in the wrong horse. I've got a video coming up later about that too. But I wanted to get to this because it's important. Folks, the media is full of Baghdad Bobbies too. Bobby, they're everywhere. They're propagandists, agitprop bullshitters. They're not serious journalists, and they're certainly not interested in the facts. Listen, I showed you in the beginning of the show, despite a massive propaganda exercise leveled against me and other Trump administration folks to make you believe nothing's happening, black pillars, doomers, they all have an agenda. They've got a 2028 agenda that is going, and their agenda, by the way, is to tear apart this Republican movement based on faith, family, and values. That is absolutely their agenda. It is a intentional kind of nuclear fission exercise from the inside. You know, there's a good piece about this. If you guys, it's kind of gone viral today. If you want to read it, I don't have time to get into the whole thing on the air, but it's a good account. Is it? I think it's Insurrection Barbie. I strongly encourage you to read a blog posting, maybe a Substack. She has it attached on her X account about what's going on. If you think any of this is real, this whole effort to dismantle this new coalition, or actually it's not, it's an old conservative coalition, but that's taken a new form in the MAGA movement. If you think any of this is real, folks, if it was real, let's be honest, you would believe it and no one would be here. The nothing is happening crowd hasn't. Forget that. The problem is it's not working. So you're seeing the extinction burst. You guys got that doggy video? The dog, if you're citing your education, you're probably a moron. Folks in the chat, can I get a dispensation for a moment? Okay, thank you. So I went to school for psychology. I hate even saying that. You sound like such a tool. Look at me. I went to school. Who cares? However, one of the basic principles of psychology and operant conditioning is an extinction burst. You engage in an action, $1 in a Coke machine, and you expect a reward. The Coke can comes out. When it doesn't come out and it defies your expectations, people have this extinction burst of almost irrational behavior.
Jose.
They start shaking the machine, banging their head against the machine. Again, I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. That is what's going on with the internal bad actors trying to secrete themselves into our movement and fracture it. They're not getting the results they wanted. So what they're doing is they're hyping up every single time the BS. Here it is. There they are. There they are. There's the fake internal astroturf actors on our look, dogs pressing a thing for pellets, the food pellet. They don't get the pellets. The dog starts freaking out. This is the losers inside the movement, the doomers and the black pillars trying to destroy you. Thank you, fellas. Now, the numbers are there for us. I mean, the movement, not me, the show, that's done. We already covered that. Here's a video of CNN, again, talking about Donald Trump's approval. Now, this is important. Approval ratings only matter in context of where other presidents were at this point. It makes no sense, in other words, to measure Donald Trump's approval rating now against, Ronald Reagan post-1984 re-election when he won 49 states. It's not the same time. Even Donald Trump, when he's first, approval ratings ebb and flow. So I want to know where Donald Trump stands now relative to where George W. Bush second term stood.
Guys, what do you mean unmute? It's unmute. There is sound. I can listen myself. What are you talking about?
And Barack Obama. If the doomers and black pillars are correct, nothing
more than any president's own party supporters loved him at this particular point. Just take a look here. Okay, own party supporters, 21st century presidents, own party approval about at this point in the second term. Bush was at 77%. Obama was at 77%. Look at this. 86% of Republicans approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing at this point. That is higher than either Obama or Bush had within their own party at this point. Trump's magic touch has not seen a war off yet when it comes to the Republican base.
Folks, if you read that piece I just told you about by Insurrection Barbie there, you're going to see that this black pillar doomer movement, they're bigger enemies to you than the liberal media. This isn't even about Donald Trump to them. He's just kind of a symptom of a larger problem that they've lost control of what is the base of the conservative Republican movement, and they want to hijack it and steal it, or else they're going to destroy it. They don't care if Donald Trump goes down in flames, or JD or Rubio or anyone else. The problem is they're losing. That's CNN numbers, folks. You think the fake news bullshitters at CNN are going to put out a poll? All they do is engage in agitprop to destroy Donald Trump. What possible motivation would they have for running a segment saying, hey, honestly, guys, he's more popular than Obama was within his party at this stage? The answer is they can't run away from it. If you're going to run a poll, you're going to report it, or else it's probably going to leak. I just don't want you all to get depressed. You see the bots, the bullshit, the bot comments and all this shit, and you really start to believe it sometimes. Like, man, we're overwhelmed. We're not overwhelmed. We are the super majority in our party. It's a little crew of losers, little kids in their basement, sitting there eating Pop-Tarts with controlling like 50 bot accounts. We hate the Jews, whatever. It's all it is. They have no real power. You see that now. We're back, and now you see it. Here's a great clip yesterday. You know, I talk about this show your ass theory all the time because the liberal media plays into this. The liberal media will run 1,000 stories about mutiny on the right, fracture on the right, MAGA civil war. Watch my show earlier this week. It's important. The one called MAGA Civil War. If you missed it, please go back and watch it. It's all fake.